I stumbled across this technique the other day that made me fall in love with my MPC again. If you're like me and want to get more from the skills that you already have, then this video is for you. Maybe you don't have the time to spend hours practicing, composing and arranging, but you still want to make amazing music that's rich and wonderful. This approach can get results fast. I'm going to turn my MPC not just into a musical instrument that I can play in real time, but a full electronic orchestra that I can conduct with my fingertips. I'll show you how you can expand the capabilities of your Groovebox by connecting an external MIDI arpeggiator. Then, play multiple instruments at the same time to produce really amazing results in a short space of time. This isn't handing over control to some AI, this is you in full control of the music, using tools that can produce results fast. Take a look at this. Here I'm playing the MPC pads in note mode, using a chosen scale, and all I'm doing is choosing the notes to arpeggiate. So let's take a look at how this is done. Arpeggiators let you play many more notes than you'd otherwise be able to play, unless you were a virtuoso. They can be quantized too, for perfect time sync, making for great sounding and easy to achieve results, particularly for electronic genres. Let's start with the basic arpeggio functions that come with your Groovebox. Here I'm using the Akai Force. Yours might be slightly different, but most devices come with a few simple patterns to arpeggiate the notes. These functions, powerful as they sound, are often just bolt-on features that can be pretty limited. We have access to only a few simple patterns and algorithms to move through the notes. The principle is great, but they could be so much more. So let's connect Midicake Arp and get more from your arpeggios. With just the USB cable, we can power Arp and get two-way MIDI connection. We need to set the MIDI routing, which is straightforward, and then we can use Arp to play MPC's synths and samples. Set up the external MIDI device to track, which enables MIDI input. Then add a track and choose a synth or sample. Set the input port to Midicake Arp and the MIDI input channel to, let's pick channel 1, and finally set MIDI monitor to in. Then we just need to match the MIDI output channel on the Arp to match channel 1. Now when we press play on Arp, we're playing the synthesizer or sample directly from Arp. But next we want to make full use of all those lovely pads and scales that MPC has. We want to play the MPC but have Arp handle the arpeggios, essentially using MPC to control Arp to play the MPC. Back into setup, we set the external MIDI output to track and sync. We also want to set sync send to MIDI clock so that the Arp will follow the MPC's timing clock. Then we need a new MIDI track to play the Arp. Set the input to none and set the output port to Midicake Arp and set the MIDI channel to, let's choose 16. We also want to set monitor to auto. Then we configure Midicake Arp to use the MIDI from the MPC to set the notes available to its arpeggiators. To do this, simply set MIDI control mode to out, MIDI through to off, and the MIDI input channel to match the MPC's output channel, which was 16. Now when we press play on Arp, we can use the pads on the MPC to control the notes being played on Arp. But that's not all. If we enable Arp's live play feature, we can play the MPC like an instrument, triggering the arpeggios only when we press a pad. We can make use of the note scale setting to change the set of notes available to us, and the layout of the pads. This is great for creating different ideas as it drastically impacts how the arpeggios sound. Plus, it stops us playing notes that might not sound so great. We can also change the way ARP responds to the MPC's note input. By default, each of ARP's tracks builds its sequence using the lowest played note and the number of steps that are defined on ARP. So regardless of how many notes you play, the sequence length always remains fixed. This is a great option if you want to maintain the rhythm of the sequence and have tight control over the output. Yet this mode limits your control over the notes being played. Changing ARP's Arpeggiation mode to Classic gives you that control. It will now arpeggiate exactly the notes you play, so you're free to wander up and down the octave range as you choose. Now the real fun starts, because we're not limited to just the one track. Let's add 3 more tracks on the MPC and control each of them with a different MIDI channel. I've not touched on how to use ARP to generate its sequences. There are plenty of videos on that topic on this channel, but there are a couple of parameters that you might find helpful when using ARP in this way. Octave lock, to keep a bass line within an octave range. Note and scale lock, so you can play drum kits with specific note triggers. Note and pitch filter, to limit how far a sequence will deviate from the root note. And then chord, pad and drone modes to take you way beyond arpeggios. There's way more to explore. And so there you have it. Massive sound that you can explore to your heart's content. Not only is it tons of fun, but simply pressing pads can inspire new ideas and new directions for your music. There's so much to explore with this approach too. Try chord sequencing the ARP from MPC, or record clips on the fly using ARP to generate the sequences. Combine MPC clips and live play to use arrangements and perform live over the top of them. Try connecting your hardware synths and controlling them with pads and ARP. I hope this inspires you to see and use your Groovebox in a completely different way. I've had so much fun with this approach, and I just needed to share it with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful for all your support, and I just love your love of music making. Please leave us a like and comment below. Would you use this approach? What scales appeal to you the most? Or just say hello, because it helps me out. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.